Have you ever considered how one small, consistent action can shape not just your game, but your entire future, your entire life? Today, it's the final part of our three-part series regarding the power of habits. We'll explore how the ripple effect of your habits extend beyond progress, transforming the person or yourself to become someone who is evolving and always growing, and the impact that itself has on others, such as your teammates, your peers, your friends who you hang out with. Those little habits that you have, you'll see over time, you'll see how it affects them and what that really means to them. Hey, it's Markins again, here with the Central Mass Young Gunners in Massachusetts here. It's the final episode of our Power of Habits. We'll build on to the previous lessons and the consistency and the discipline of how to explore larger and get the ripple effect that is going to get us the desired effects. Okay, so this episode's everything. It kind of like brings everything together. It sort of like ties it all in, showing how the habits can really influence your growth, your relationship, your legacy, and everything else beyond that. Okay, so let's talk about the big picture then. Habits are not just about improving skills or reaching your goals. They actually define who you become. That's really the way it is. While progress may be the initial motivation, right? You do it first so you can improve upon something, but the ultimate reward is the identity and the character you build through the daily actions. I mean, yeah, habits can create systems that support your growth even when motivation is not even great. I mean, imagine if you're into the habit of working out every morning for, say, 30 minutes, even when you don't feel like it, because of how good you feel after you work out, just for that reason alone, you may get up, and even when you don't feel motivated, you just go do it anyway. Besides, you want to avoid not doing it. It's sort of like brushing your teeth almost, right? You know that when you don't do it, you don't feel right. You feel like something's missing or something hasn't been done or you're not comfortable. Whatever that feeling may be, that's where you want to get to. So it is important to understand that something as simple as getting up in the morning and working out for 30 minutes, when you don't do it and you feel as if you didn't brush your teeth, for example, because you feel uncomfortable, it's a great place to be, right? It's a great level to get to. So we're talking about also the ripple effect that it has on others, right? Your habits influence not only your success, but also people around you. I mean, think about the player who's always working hard. When others, right, their teammates don't feel like working hard, and they watch and they see how hard this person works, at some point, it's going to motivate someone else to do a little bit more. Okay. So those positive habits will definitely encourage others to stay disciplined, inspire others to do the same. The negative habits, like complaining to refs, complaining about everything that goes wrong, they can definitely undermine team morale and the progress. It drags other people down. Simple as that, right? Because this player, every time they don't get their way, they're either shouting at another teammate, complaining to the ref, blaming the ref. Those habits are on the negative side, right? But the other kid who gets knocked down just gets up and goes about their business. They'll get the fouls. And if they don't really, really make more of it than they should. Those are great positive habits. So it's kind of like giving you an example of both sides, and it definitely influences others, right? And now when we talk about the habits as a feedback loop, like the momentum through habits, positive habits create positive feedback loops, right? They're reinforcing growth and confidence over time. The small wins build momentum, making success feel more natural, and eventually it's just going to be a result of those habits. This feedback makes hard work sustainable because you can begin to see and feel the results. So give you an example. So let's say, for example, you have a bunch of players who consistently lose in games. Okay. They show up every time and it's in their mind, it's always 0-0. Let's say they go the entire season and not win a game. At the end of that season, they become something different. Okay. Now, on the positive side, they can say, okay, these are the reasons we're not winning games. However, every time we play, we're going to continue to, I don't know, battle. Well, at the end of the season, they're going to be more resilient. They're going to be tougher mentally. They're going to have a bigger heart to compete, right? It's just going to happen. It's just going to be a result of being the player, even though they know they're not going to win or they can't win because the competition is too tough, though. But they're still going to get something out of it, and that's resilience. And believe me, that's an important trait for great character. Okay, so just kind of give you an example of why these negative and positive loops, every single one of them has a consequence. They have a result. So, and as we talk about the legacy of habits, well, the habits you practice today leave a legacy, not just in your game, but in the example you set for others. Okay, so you're creating a foundation for long-term success and influencing younger players and teammates who you look up to. Those habits, they align with your values, right? They build that legacy, that integrity, the resilience that we talked about, the excellence, right? So if, say, for example, a coach, every time they show up, if they're winning, they're smiling, they're laughing, they're joking. And then if they lose and they screaming and they're berating players, well, clearly that coach has I would say the agenda or the objective is totally different. A lot of coaches feel very, I would say, wins are important to them because it validates them as a coach. But when they lose, it questions, right? It brings a question to their minds, to their own minds, how good of a coach they are. And for those reasons, they get emotionally engaged, where the positive comes when they win, and then when the negative really comes when they lose. Well, that is a simple example of how a coach can have a different perspective on how the game should be played, how results should matter more than anything else. Conversely, you can have another coach who says, the objective here is for you to improve upon this, that, and the other. 1, 2, 3, ABC. Regardless of what happens, whether you're winning or losing, you must continue to do it this way. Well, that's a person with a plan, with a clear objective about something they would like to see you improve upon, regardless of the results. But here's the irony. As players really build that resilience, the focus, the determination to play a certain way, wins later on, right? Because we're talking about the big picture again. Wins later on naturally come. Furthermore, that player becomes a better person because they're not necessarily tying all their emotions, all their value, all their worth on whether they win or lose. No one likes to lose. Nobody. It's all about how you see it. Okay? It's all about your perception, how you perceive that loss. Okay? How you see it as a learning opportunity, not a complete loss. It's only a loss when you learn nothing from it. If you lose, every time you lose, you learn something. The next time, you're not going to lose the same way because you're going to be right there improving upon the last time because you knew you needed to work on it and therefore you put the work in. And so now the intentional habits for growth, right? It's there to amplify whatever ripple effect it's going to have. It's really there to help you develop certain skill, certain habits, certain things consistently. So the small actions on a daily basis create lasting change, right? So if you're talking about something like having the intentions to choose habits that align with your long-term goals, for example. So you're going to stack those habits, stack them up, pair new ones with existing ones, and seamlessly the integration will then have that amplified ripple effect. Okay. So it's super, super important to understand why it is the little things that you do on a daily basis is what compounds into bigger things that you want later. Because it's not just the thing that you get at the end, it's what you become in a journey. I hope you kind of understand that. So the big takeaway is again the consistency of the small things that really gives you that discipline, that bridges the gap between what you want and what you become. That's a key thing. It's a key distinction. So in other words, I want to close by saying this. Okay, the habits shape who you are. Change your habits, you change who you become. Okay, that's super important for you, everyone, to understand that. And I truly hope that you get it. That's why we took so much time. We did it in three parts so that we can really zoom in on certain aspects of it. Okay, so no matter how, the ripple effects are so important and so powerful that no matter how small, it carries a transformation beyond your belief almost. Okay, and so your relationships, your future, your influence on all those things are affected by the habits that you show, that habits that you adapt, the habits that you make part of your daily activities and your daily execution of what you do. Okay, so what I would love, thanks, first of all, thanks for listening and coming along this ride with me, because I think as important as I'm taking the time to put these together for you. So, here's your challenge. Take one habit, and a habit that you built through maybe a habit that you built through a series, and reflect on its ripple effect. Take one habit, something that you've been doing all along. Maybe it's juggling a ball 2-3 times a week. Maybe it's doing a few burpees or push-ups, whatever it is. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Just taking a look back at it, something that that you've been doing, a positive one, and look how it's shaped your life already. Maybe it's joining a soccer team that you really love the experience. Just take a look, see how it's affected your life, and now take something negative that you think may have also dragged you down or stopped you from really improving upon what you could be. Okay, now focus on that and zoom in on it and try to change it. You see, so that's your challenge really, and just keep repeating that over and over again. You are going to become something totally different from where you are right now, just by taking small steps. Right. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Mass Young Gunners. Drop a comment. Tell me what your biggest takeaway is. Let's keep these conversations going. As you can see, they're not perfect. They're not overly scripted, but we definitely have an agenda in mind to sort of like bring the key points along, and hopefully these little things make a big difference for you as well. As always, till the next time, thanks for joining us. Nice to see everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.